Shill bidders. They're ruining Bring a Trailer and all the auction platforms. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to make some predictions. We've got real experts as guests. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts right now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick. We'll be coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner Michael Deeb, way over on the far side of the screen. He's in San Francisco. And Michael Deeb, we got an expert. Who's that in between us?
Matthew Ivanhoe. You know him as the Cultivated collector, staying up way past his bedtime on the East Coast. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us from your lovely chalet. I see many leather-bound books. It must smell of rich mahogany. How do you stay awake for Bid Nerds? Tell us. Wafting, yes.
I'm wafting. That's how I'm staying awake right now. But
how are you, buddy?
Thank you guys.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for
doing great.
Thanks for tuning in with us and joining the Nerd Herd. They are very excited to have you on the show. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. We have some pretty cool cars. Yeah, we have some pretty cool cars. Maybe something that'll get you to bid. You know, there's a couple of nice ones here. JP, what do you got?
This is going to be an interesting show. I like the lineup tonight. The big thing, look, I want to talk about shill bidders, but we'll talk about that when we get to the very first kind of rehash. We always start off every episode by going over our predictions from the last episode. That's what makes us weird here, Matthew, is that we hold ourselves accountable. I know that it's on the internet. That's kind of a no-no, but we're going to do that. But first, I want to shout out to everyone in the Nerd Herd, everyone who's hanging out watching the show live. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up or like button. That really helps out the show and it helps grow the Nerd Herd. Also, we're going to be talking about a bunch of listings. When we get to those, it'd be awesome if you guys go to those listings and say that you heard about the car on Bid Nerds. Spread the word on the actual listings. That also gets a lot of extra eyeballs on the show. I've got all the links to all the cars in the description below. Also next to those descriptions, of course, are links to our sponsors like Hippie Sips. You got to get yourself a can of that. The whatever's in here, Deeb, I don't know what's in here. I know there's some THC and some other fun stuff in here, but whatever else is in here, it helps you definitely bid better than us because I don't know what JB, he pounds one of these and he beats us every time.
JP, at my age, if it'll just help me poop and sleep, I'd be happy with it. $5 a can is a good price. I'm good.
That's what it's, helps deep poop. Yeah, that's it right there in the small print. And of course, Our Smiths, definitely check them out. Okay, we'll be talking about them again later. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, I'm wearing an Our Smiths watch as well. An Aviera. Okay, let's get to it. What was the first car on the list, Michael Deeb?
JP, an absolute Frankenstein, but a pretty cool car nonetheless. Feast your eyes on, I thought we were going to start with the Slant.
Yeah, we are. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right.
There.
The 1983 Porsche 911 SC Cabriolet that many years ago had been treated to a slant nose conversion as well as a 3.3 liter flat six turbocharged 930 motor mated with a 4-speed 915 gearbox. This car is pretty cool, JP, and listed on Bring a Trailer as an alumni listing out of Elmhurst, Illinois. If it looks familiar to you, perhaps as a fan of the old Bring a Trailer, you might have seen this car sell back in the summer of 2022 for $86,000. At that time, the car was showing about 47,000 miles, was listed out of Ohio, and had the 993 turbo wheels on it. The car ran a second time with that fancy outfit out of Texas, out of Dallas, Texas. Again, still showing 47,000 miles, but now treated to a beautiful set of roof wheels. The car comes back to market for a third time, JP. This time as an alumni listing, again, out of Illinois, showing now 48,000 miles. They have made a few more changes to the car, and I'm not sure that I agree with them. The roof wheels still look good, but they basically reupholstered those very cool period correct sports seats in favor of something with this sort of not houndstooth, but like this check pattern. And I feel like they've detracted from the car. The other thing is, for the first time, they're now running the car deep into the fall. We are staring Thanksgiving right in the face, and we're trying to sell a specialized convertible late in the sports car season. In fact, I would say this car is out of season. With all of that in mind, JP, my bids were pretty tempered on this one. Despite transacting twice in the $80,000 range, I thought our car only had a chance to get to about $55,930, where I thought it would fail to sell, mostly because of the time of year, secondly, because of the poor assets, and thirdly, because of the changes that they made that I didn't think cosmetically enhanced the car or the asset. JP, you took the over at just $59,930. And then we had our good friend Alexander Leventhal join us as third nerd. His bid just above JP's at $61,000. So what do you think, Matthew? It's a convertible turbo, but it's not the real thing. It's the real M505. It'd be a $150,000 car if it was a 930. But this is an SC with some mechanical and cosmetic upgrades. But now they're trying to sell it deep in the season, and I didn't think it would have the legs to get into that range. What would be any love for a turbo cab, and what would be your bid on this car that closed a couple days ago on Bring a Trailer?
Well, I would say, that's something that's a car that's great for someone who wants to drive something, someone who's an enthusiast who wants to have a car to play, not necessarily going to be something that hits the notes with guys who are really looking to collect a 911. It's not a Born 930, it's not an M505. To reiterate all the points you made, I would have been even more brutal than you guys, if I'm honest.
Dude, give it to us. Give us your most brutal take, and you will be welcomed by the herd.
Oh man, and I didn't see what this one did. I would have expected, like, before you even primed with what the thing sold for in 22, which I strongly discount what pretty much anything sold for in 2022. I was thinking it was going to be some bid somewhere in the high 40s.
High 40s, and that's not bad. So let's just take 48,000.
I'm point of fact. We give us an actual number there. And so to see how well you beat us here. So just give us a number there.
$48,000. Oh, I don't think I beat you guys based on where everyone
knows. 40,000. Yeah. Okay. So here's where it gets real interesting really fast, Matthew. Our car hammered for $80,000, yet it failed to sell on that number. And the bid count for this car was just 5 bids, which is, imagine where JP is going to go with this, without spoiling his theme for the show tonight. I will go on record as saying, if you get $80,000 bid on your non-real 911 turbo cab in November and you say no, you're out of your mind. That's all the money for the car.
Twice.
He should have taken the money. That's it. And yet he didn't. It failed to sell. So, JP, I imagine you got a very strong opinion about what went down here. What say you, Mr. Polnick?
Well, before I get to my opinion, I want to shout out to our good friend Michaels 2916, who's taken over for Randy tonight, watching all the numbers. So thank you, Michaels. Look, this car. Geez, look at this. There were 2 Yahtzees in the nerd herd from last week too. 80,000 is a nice round number. I think we're all surprised by that because we should be, because that bid is bullshit. Let's just say it right there. That was a shill bid. This car going in under 24 hours the night before was at $26,000. Within the last hour, it went from $26,000 to $80,000, and of course, it got no more bids. That's called a shill bid, kids. That is complete BS, and there's so many things wrong with this listing. There's so many things that, frankly, you gotta go to BAT and go, what the hell, guys? I mean, I know that this car has a previous sell for $80-something thousand, but we all know that, like Matthew says, numbers from that era really are sus, right? Because things were crazy. I think we all know that this was a shill bid, right? There's just no question about that. If this guy were genuinely interested in this car, this I wrote the name Waterford. I think Waterford is the shill bid guy. Anyways, the username. If he was genuinely interested in the car, it makes sense that you would come in and bid and say, okay, that gives me a shot to talk to the actual owner, and because if you don't meet reserve, then you're the one guy if you're the top bidder that gets a chance to buy the car after it closes and fails to sell. So, but why would you jump $40,000 to do that? That's absurd. We all know this is silly. Matthew, what do you think of that? Shill bid, or do you think it's legit?
I think, yeah, I would never in a million years dispute that take. No one just jumps a bid $40,000+ in one hit. If you want to do a little bit further digging, I would be interested to see when that account was registered.
Right.
I did
a very
it's
cursory
amateur hour
look,
with that kind of shilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's amateur hour. So yeah.
And by the way, you guys are short selling it. That was a $54,000 jump. I mean, my God,
whatever
dude.
it was, it was ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
I propose that BAT should flag suspected shill bidders. I think that if you come in as a shill bidder, if you ever bid again, there should be a note. There should be a sticker next to your name. I still think there should be an independent page that has the listing of all the shill bidders and all the people who failed to complete a transaction after they've won a bid. I think there needs to be a wall of shame, like behind the register at the bodega on the corner, for all those bad checks that didn't clear. And then on top of that, this seller, Deeb, you mentioned it on the last episode. This seller just couldn't shut the F up. Like it was there was 5 bids total on this whole thing, and I don't know how many comments, but 95% of them were the seller just talking out of his butt. It's like, dude, shut the hell up. Let this car at least try to let this listing breathe. Didn't happen. What do you guys think BAT should do about shill bidders? And here's another question for you, Matthew. Shill bidders, we all know they happen. When it's something this egregious, how bad do you think that is for the platform, for these stories to get out? What do you think that does to the confidence of other bidders?
I kind of have a mixed take because, and look, full disclosure, if I'm selling something on BAT, 95% of the time, I'm selling it no reserve. So I think I have a full clear conscience that I can say zero shill bidding here. But, I obviously become pretty sensitive to it. And frankly, to even more scandalous stuff. Guys trying to market make, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to market make on a very, very expensive car, paying $7,500 to create the perception that your car is that these cars that you may own more than one of are worth that, is actually it sounds crazy, but $7,500 to create the perception that your thing is worth a lot more than what you paid for it isn't that much money. So, there are a lot more sinister games that can happen even beyond shill bidding. In this particular case, to me, it's innocuous just because it's so egregious. It's so ridiculous. Like I'm jumping the bid that much, like, come on, man. Like that's ridiculous. And by the way, I think that if something had been if the auction had been left to its own devices, I don't think my number would have been that far off if it was $26,000 with an hour to go in the bidding. Usually I feel like things go up, 2x max. Usually they go up 2x. In the final hour.
And that would have brought it to something like $50,000. There's no doubt that this was a shill bid. There's no doubt that this was ridiculous. This guy's just trying to protect, not just protect his reserve, but protect the car from being burnt with a low number. Look, here's another question for you guys, and this goes out to the nerd herd and anyone watching. Let us know in the comments below. I would like to see some nominations for worst seller of the year. It's coming up to the new year. We've got a month and a half left. I'd love to see you guys send me some DMs on the IG and just we've covered so many listings, and I know you guys pay attention to all this stuff. I want to do a special at the end of the year, worst sellers of the year, worst buyers of the year, biggest shill bidder of the year. I think we could have a lot of fun with that. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. All right, let's move on from this disgrace of an auction listing. What's that?
You forgot one, JP. We got to get a trophy made for worst platform of the year.
Well, I mean, you could just engrave that with P-Car Market right out of the gate. We all know what the answer to that one's going to be. All right, what's the next car on the list? Let's move along. Sorry we spent so much time on that. I think it was important to talk about that whole shill thing because this is BS.
All right, JP, we are going to circle back to the 2003 Lotus Esprit V8 that was showing as an alumni listing on Bring a Trailer. This car is in pristine condition with just 2,700 miles on the odometer from new, listed by World Class Motor Cars out of Chesterfield, Missouri. Our car is one of the last itinerations of the Esprit ever made, and JP astutely pointed out that the 2003 was kind of the first year of the new dash layout. And then with all the other little subtle pieces they did to the front fascia, the rockers, the wheels, the wing, and everything, this car winds up being the nicest of the updated look of the Esprit before the car bowed and ceased production forever. The big news here, Matthew, if you had slightly glanced over this car, was that this particular car had previously transacted on Bring a Trailer back in June of 2023, which you could throw into that same category as anything that transacted in 2022. The car sold on BAT with 2,500 miles for $220,000. I went on record immediately, as saying whoever is selling this car should not expect to repeat that result. And not even close. So our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price of the V8 Esprit is just $64,000. This car previously ran for transacted for $220,000, and now 2.5 years later is coming back to market. You overpaid. You set the high watermark by paying over $200,000 for this car. Why are you running it with meh assets in the fall on Bring a Trailer? A car like this with a result like that behind it should either run as a premium listing with professional photography, in the spring or the summer, or you take it to a live auction. If it's back east, take it to Amelia Island or something like that. But for this car to run at this time, I did not think this auction was going anywhere. My bid, $100,000 with a failure to sell. JP, you bid up to $145,000. And Alexander Leventhal joined us as third nerd. His remote bid on this car was even better than JP's at $160,000, which I just didn't think it would get to that number. So the good thing is, Matthew, you are familiar with the car. It doesn't look like any changes to the car have occurred, which is nice. But again, that was an outlier transaction whenever it happened a couple of years ago. Now the car comes back to face the music. What song are they playing, Matthew? What numbers are in that song?
Well, I can't lie to you guys. I was following this one. I'd be cheating.
Okay, that's okay.
So,
but what did you think was going to happen? You have an opinion. What do you think was going to happen? And throw a number to that opinion, even though you know what the result was.
Yeah, I know what the result was. I mean, look, here's what I'd say. I found that overall in the market, there's been a real narrowing of people's focus in terms of what buyers want. And there are certain things that, repeat visitors on Bring a Trailer can do all right if they, if they come back. But a situation like that car where, I mean, look, an 03 Esprit, very cool, end of an era, great condition, good color, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was a wild result in the moment. And I think that it's a quirky car. So therefore, bringing it back on Bring a Trailer risky. I mean, people, the fact that number, that 2023 number is staring a bidder in the face the second they open that page, that automatically, in my opinion, that automatically tends to hold people's bids back, especially if it's something where they can't get a really strong degree of comfort that they're not overpaying for something, like in a different car, for example, where there's a lot of transparency into what the values of those cars are. People won't be that afraid of going past where a car sold in prior years if the market is there. But people, despite some of the crazy numbers that are coming out, it's not for everything. People are still kind of jittery, and they don't want to feel like they're idiots. So therefore, in my opinion, it was always doomed. And I don't care if the photography was professional, which, I mean, that is a huge pet peeve of mine. Like, the fact that people don't invest in professional photography at this stage in the game is absurd to me.
I actually think this car was shot by a real photographer, but they did it in the parking lot of a warehouse, and that's where they failed. But the actual images are pretty good.
So what was the result?
Yeah, they're fine. But put some effort in. It's a special car. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
All right. So our car ultimately hammered for $141,000, meaning JP was all over this thing. But naturally, the car failed to sell at that number on 49 bids. I'm going to go back to you, Matthew, because one of the things you said is that 9 times out of 10, when you run a car, you run it no reserve. My question to you is, at $141,000, I strongly think that number surprised me. I'm surprised he got up to that number, but I actually think if he had run it no reserve, he would have got more. Do you agree with that? And what do you think he would have got if he
100%.
ran it no reserve? Because I think he would have got 10% more money, maybe 15 if he ran it no reserve.
There's a reason why I run no reserve. You're out there with a megaphone telling everyone that you're serious. You're not there to waste anyone's time. You're not out here playing games. And whoever when the hammer drops, you're there to sell a car. You're selling a car, and you're 100% correct. It tends to eke out those extra bids that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And look, I've had it cut the other way, where I've had no reserve cars, and I went like, it's just going, oh my, I cannot believe that I just let a car go for that. But the reality is, for me, that happens one out of every 10 times, and I'll take those odds every day of the week.
Got it.
Well, guys,
JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm closest to the pin, but this car isn't worth that much. It's just not. It wasn't worth 200. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but today on the other platform over here on Cars and Bids, here's one in blue. This car I think is as good or better than the yellow one. This car has not 2,300 miles, not 3,000 miles. This car has 300 miles, and it hammered and sold for $52,000. So what
year is it?
It's the same year. What? It's an 03, man. This is a final year car.
No, that can't be. The taillights are different, and the wheels are the taillights.
Look at the interior. That's the last year. That's an 03 right there. It says 98. Okay, I am wrong. So did they update the interior? I just saw the interior and I was like shocked. How is that possible? Where did they get an interior that looks just like the last dated one? But anyways, still, this car clearly not the same thing. I was wrong about that, but still, it's only got 300 miles and it sold for $52,000. How different is this car compared to that other one? I mean, it's still the 3.5 liter V8. What the hell? What do you think of that?
I actually, dirty secret, I actually prefer the look of the earlier car.
But this one looks exactly like the other one. I mean, it's got the
taillights on the earlier car better.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think the round taillights suit the car's aesthetic. It's, it's original. It's an original, it's one of the original wedge cars buried underneath all those years of tweaks and modifications.
Yeah.
So, the closer we get to that original S1 awesome wedge shape, the happier I am, So, and I love it. And OZ Futuras are just one of, I love those wheels. So, I really like that.
Here it is. You can
generation of
have the
wheels.
look of the last one and save yourself $100,000 and still have enough to buy that turbo slant nose from the that we just talked about. All right, what do you guys think of the results of that yellow Lotus? Let's move on from the Lotus. Is that plural for Lotus? Lotus I? The Lotus East?
Low tie.
Low tie? All right, we're moving on from the low tie. What's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, I pandered to you and selected this 1988 Toyota MR2 Supercharged with a 5-speed manual running no reserve and showing just 20,000 miles on Bring a Trailer. Our good friends Matt Crandall and the good guys up at 911R were representing this car out of Portland, Oregon. JP, one of the things I had mentioned on the air is I just don't consciously remember this dark blue metallic paint. And I think it looks pretty good with the car. The black leather and the steering wheel and the seats, this just kind of looks like a lot of fun. And it's the supercharged one. This car running no reserve. Nice vehicle. I thought this one had a chance to ring the bell. JP, our friends at classic.com tell us the average selling price of a supercharged Mr. 2 is $26,000. I had every hope that this car would bring $30,000 when it hammered just the other day. You even took the over at $32,000. And Alexander Leventhal joined us as third nerd. His bid just above yours, JP, going to $33,000. So Matthew, this isn't exactly, supercar or rich sports car stuff. This is old kind of econo stuff from, the Young Timer collection. This is Radwood era.
No, it's
any
cool
love
though, man.
any love for Mr. 2? And
hold on a second, Deeb. Before we go over to Matthew, I just wanted to give Matthew another heads up before he bids a number 2. One thing that was revealed in the comments, not in the actual listing, is that this car was repainted. So as beautiful as it is, it's not. But it wasn't because of an accident. No.
Color change or just repaint?
Just repaint. Apparently, it had some garage damage, and the owner chose to paint it. It didn't have any body damage or anything like that. Just had some scratches, apparently. But anyways, so I wanted to throw that in there because that may or may not affect what your number is. What do you think of the car?
Well, I mean, look, if right up until the moment you said full repaint, I was that everything that was being rattled off here was bell, to use your guys' terminology, bell ringing stuff. I mean,
yes.
Super low miles, the version you want, great color, great condition, blah blah blah. Like if there's going to be in a nice color, I mean that's. If one's gonna hit it, it's and of course killer presentation by Crandall and Associates. I mean,
yep,
that's a winner. That by all definitions should be a winner. And you know what? Even with okay, fine, it's been repainted, but I mean, I don't want to say whatever, but whatever. I mean,
I don't know if it was a full repaint. It may have just been the one side or something like that. I didn't dig that deep. Just FYI.
Even so,
yeah,
I feel like this is a little bit of a go repeat it kind of situation. Go find another one. So, I mean, I'll be the crazy one. I'll go on the high side of you guys. I'll go 35.
35. Not a bad bid. Perhaps it was the paint that held it back. Our car hammering for just $27,500 where it's sold on 20 bids. JP, that still seems like a tremendous value. So I'm going to go on record and say I think that's really well bought. The repaint, yeah, but this is not a collector car that's going to double or triple in value. But for $27,000 to get kind of a car that's that unmolested, that has that much cachet and fun to drive, I mean, that is a car that I assume on a rally or at a Cars and Coffee is going to get a ton of attention. If you took it to a Radwood, you'd be Radwood royalty. I like that. I think that is a fantastic entry-level car for somebody getting into the genre of vintage cars or old sports cars or that kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and say well bought, even though it's a pretty penny. I know you get up over 30 grand, there's a lot more choices, but I think it'd be hard to find something that pristine. So well done.
Yeah, I don't think the repaint issue would have been nearly the problem if it had been disclosed in the listing. The problem is that it showed up in the comments. It was kind of discovered, and I don't think anyone really thought that this was bad faith, because I do agree with you, Deeb. I think 27 grand is still pretty good money for this car. I think it could have done a little better, and if we see this car in the spring come back for sale and it's listed and it discloses those things, we could see this car do way, way better in the future. This car was poised to go to the moon, man. I mean, it was like that last hour, the bids started coming in fast, man. It was just like bid. But they were all small bids, $200, $50, a couple $100 at a time. And, people were kind of giving us the popcorn emojis. Everyone's going, okay, take off at any moment, and then it just fizzled out. It was like a Blue Origin launch. I mean, it was just like everyone was going, what happened? And a pop star got out and kissed the ground. It's a beautiful car. I sure love this thing. Matthew, what do you think of the result?
That's a ton of car for the money. To your point, I mean, it's a car that'll that'll allow someone to have a wonderful, a myriad of experiences, lots of shows, drives. It's a really nice car, and I have a saying: if you're buying something, cry once, buy the nice one. It sucks when you stroke the check and then your tears stop, and this seems like that kind of a car. So to get it in that kind of a zone seems like a lot of car for the money. And I mean, it's not going to break the bank to maintain. It's a Toyota. I think it's a lot of car for that money.
I'm going to buy one. Screw all these Porsches. All right, let's pick up the pace here, Deeb. Let's do this last one real quick, and then we'll get to a break.
All right, JP, we got one last car. We're going to circle back to the 1993 Chevrolet Corvette ZR-1 that also coincides with being a 40th anniversary in the 40th anniversary livery. Our car on Bring a Trailer has just 203 miles from new. Essentially, this car is on its first tank of gas. That is pretty awesome. So our car is listed out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and JP, for all of those reasons, being like ridiculously low odometer, the Gen 2 of the C4 ZR1, and a 40th anniversary and a manual transmission, which might be redundant. I think all the ZR1s were manuals. I thought this car had a chance to ring the bank. JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a ZR1 is just $40,000, but I thought this car could get to 78. And then I watched you and Alexander bid over me again. So JP, you went up to 80 and Alexander went up to 83. Matthew, any love for a ZR1 C4 Vet? And do you think the 40th anniversary and the odometer would significantly enhance the value as a potential collector car to the boomer with a lawn chair that collects Corvettes? Where are you at on that?
So I have a bit of a confession, and I'm going to apologize to everyone watching that I'm definitely not going to get the color right, but I've always had a bit of a I have a desire to get the aqua colored ZR1 that they like a ZR1 in that aqua color. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Right.
So I think the 40, the 40th thing is cool. It's not my favorite color just generally, and right now colors are such a big deal. The odometer definitely helps. But there were a lot of these cars that were put away. There were a lot of, my Corvette is the best Corvette type of guys who, just stuck these things away and mothballed them and, drained the tanks of fuel, drained all the fluids out of them and just stuck them away. So I'm not saying there are a fair number of them. I'm going to go on the low side on this one. I'm going to go 75.
75. Okay, so you took the under, and ironically, Matthew, this one went over. Our car hammered for $85,000, where it's sold on 39 bids. JP, that by our accounting is all the money for this car. But the question I have for you is there any scenario where you would imagine that if it was better assets at a better time of year, this car might bring more or might actually
yes and yes. This car is a
$100,000
car this spring with better assets.
Yeah.
Whoever bought it,
there you go.
Hire the bid nerds. We can do it for you. That is one of the services that we provide. You can go to bidnerds.biz. Here it is. Here's the website. A happy ending for every auction. Give the bid nerds a call if you don't want to hassle with taking the photos and interacting with people and all that stuff and listening to people bitch about how lousy your listing is. We'll do it right, and we'll get your car sold for the most amount of money possible. All right, guys, stick around. We have predictions. This is the good part of the show. You've stuck around this long. We are just getting started, assuming I can find the commercial break.
Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
All right, guys, now's the time. I'm looking at my Our Smith's Aviera watch right here. Look, Michael Deeb has his, and I'm looking at my watch, and it is time to crack open a can of Hippie Sips. You need a can of Hippie Sips if you want to get the best bids possible on Bid Nerds. Hippie Sips, look, this stuff is really good, man. They are redefining social drinking with cannabis-infused organic beverages. Their mission is simple: bring health to the party with flavorful drinks you can feel good about. Get yourself a Hippie Sips at hippiesips.com. Get over on the website. There's some states that you're not even allowed to have this stuff. It's so good. So get on there, see if it's legal to have it in your state, and get yourself a case. Tell them the Bid Nerds sent you. All right. I'm excited, Deeb. I just mainlined a can of Hippie Sips. I need a syringe for this stuff because it's that good. Alex, Matthew, have you had a can of Hippie Sips? Can we send you a can? We'll send you a case.
Can't say I've ever had a can of Hippie Sips.
Oh man, you are missing out.
I
don't know if it's legal where you're at, but we'll.
It is legal. It is legal.
All right, we're sending you a case. That's happening. All right.
Okay,
that is happening. All right, JB, send Matthew.
If I'm going to keep swinging and missing at these auctions, if I'm going to keep swinging and missing at this.
Hey, you're staying up this late. You'll just cruise right into bidding. All right, guys. We have some.
Nothing helps you self-medicate the travails of the secondary market like a case of Hippie Sips.
Hippie Sips, that is right.
I was just writing new copy.
Predictions. It is predictions time. We have great cars tonight. All right, we are running a little long, so thanks for everyone sticking around already. Let's get to it and let's make this happen. Let's move it along. What's our first car on the list, Deep?
JP, check it out. Bring a Trailer has a 2002 Porsche 911 GT2 showing just 15,000 miles on the odometer, listed out of Burlingame, California, which is right down the highway from me. This is a pretty spectacular car. Had previously been registered in Nevada, and I didn't even catch that. I'm gonna have to go to the.
Is that our car?
I was
trying to access the Carfax, and it wouldn't come up.
Yeah, it's a one-owner car, so that's definitely not our car. Our car would have had more registration, but Nevada, that's crazy. 05. Okay, cool. Anyway, look, this is I don't know how many they made, but the GT2 is a spectacular driver's car. You've got a modified 911 turbo with GT3 suspension and rear wheel drive, a little bit of aero. The car I think actually looks good too. I like the front air dam and the wing. It's appealing to me, whereas most 996s don't really do it for me. I actually think the GT2 is an attractive car. It is an incredible driver's car. A lot of them got modified in period. But today, I think the ones that are stock are probably the ones that are going to bring the most money because these have started to be realized as collectors. So a fantastic car. And JP, just as I hand it over to you, I want you to know there are currently like 10 or 11 of these things in the secondary market over the last 6 months. And none of them have sold. So there's just a lot of cars listed like in classified ads, but we haven't seen any cars transact. So it'll be interesting to see what this one does, especially being so deep into the year. Again, this is one of those, I think, kind of an A-list Porsche car that should run with better assets in the summertime. These pictures were taken in a parking lot at the golden hour, and they're professional, but I think they're leaving money on the table already. This car is poised to do really, really well, and I think it's because none have transacted in a while. I think a lot of the asking prices for those classified cars are kind of outrageous. So it'll be interesting to see what this car hammers for when it closes 2 days from now. So JP, tell everybody why they should love a 996 GT2.
Man, these cars were criminally undervalued for so long. People just looked right past these. For the 996 fans out there, this is the best one there is. For those of you who are like, on 996s, look, I love 996s and I love 996 turbos. But everything I don't like about a 996 turbo from an aesthetic point of view has been fixed with this car. The extra little, the extra kind of extra on the bottom of the nose there, the wing, the proportions just kind of, it fills out all the problems with the regular one that I feel like are kind of lacking. And the regular 996 turbo, it's just not as masculine, as tough looking as the GT2. And don't get me wrong, I love a 996 turbo, even a regular one. But this car, this is spectacular. But the biggest problem with these is that they have been realized. People do now appreciate how great they are, and now the prices for them are ridiculously high. And unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to ever get one. Matthew, what do you think of the GT2 996?
Love them. Have had a bunch. Probably not more than, probably 8 or 9 of them.
Wow.
And to your point, the first one I ever had my hands on, which was in 2013, I paid 70 grand for. Different, very, very different time. I mean, that was kind of the real peak of 996 hate, which I am, I'm a big 996 advocate. I remember the days when 964s were absolutely detested by Porsche guys, and I thought they were great. And now look at them now. Everyone loves a 964.
Yeah.
And I think that 996 has that potential. I mean, if you look at the analog between 964 and 993, same with 996, 997. And so a GT2, really special car. To your point, I think there are about 300 cars that were brought to the U.S. Mark II is incredibly rare. Silver black, not the common, but in 15,000 miles, good miles, not crazy low miles for one of those, but a good honest car is, I think, a great place to be. And the handful of photos I can sort of stare at my phone while you guys are flipping through things, and I'm wearing, not wearing glasses, it looks like it's a decent car. So I
we'll
think
we'll let you go last with the bid. We'll give you the last bid.
Yeah.
We'll let
I have an idea. We're playing in my world.
Okay.
All right, cool. So JP, super cool car. He's right. We only got the .2 of the GT2, which is from 02 to 05. Just over 300 of those were brought to the U.S., and this is a very low production car. So they are, I think, now just finally coming to terms with collectors who are starting to buy the very best of these and add them to their Porsche collection. And I think the timing on this could also prove to be really good, because I think the 992.2 is about to drop its GT2. So I think the GT2 is coming, and this might be a great time to snag this car. That being said, none have seemed to publicly transact over the last half a year, and this car is already in good position. John, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a 996 GT2 is $181,000. Our car doesn't close for another 2 days. It's already sitting at $210,000. That comes to us by way of 25 bids. So the collectors are all in the room, and they're all getting a seat. JP, initially I thought this car would do $232,000. $911. I'm just going to round up and go $240,000 even. And it's simply because there just haven't been any. And this one looks to be pretty no-nonsense listing. And I wonder if this car would have done better in the summer. But the fact that none have transacted, I think this guy is he's the first one to come to market in a while. I think he's going to be rewarded for that. So $240,000. I'm all in on this car. Lucas, who made a few notes for the show, said that they had trimmed the lower half of that lower black rubber spoiler on the front of the car. I don't think that makes any difference. That piece is $400 at the parts counter. Yeah. Other than that, the car looks stock. It even looks like they might have adjusted the suspension to lower it. This car, I think, is going to do really, really well. So $240 is my bid, and I think it'll sell at my number. It may even sell right where it's at now. JP, are you all in on this turbo at this time of year?
I'm excited about this car. I wish this car was going in my garage. I don't think I have the budget for it. It's probably going to go for over $250, but I'm going to go $250,996 and hand it off to Matthew. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm sitting here kicking myself right now for not buying the Mark II, the 2005, the 2005 GT2 that I was offered with 20,000 miles about a month and a half ago at 210, and I was saying, "There's no way. There isn't a lot of room to grow with it." Yeah, okay, all right. So I'm going to.
So that didn't age well. 235. Okay, so he's coming in just a little underneath us. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's going underneath us. Yeah.
That Mark II in 2005, that's like 476 horsepower or something, right? Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and it's crazy rare. I want to say they're like 30 US cars or something like that. It's really rare.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, that's not going to age well. All right, JP, I think we are ready to move on to the next
let's move on. What's the next car? Let us know what you think the GT2 will bring. All right, clip it along. We got to move. Let's go. Let's make some bids on the cars. What do we got?
Another rare car by the numbers is this 2008 BMW Z4 M Coupe. Our car is listed on Cars and Bids and showing just 38,000 miles from new on a clean West Lynn, Oregon title. JP, this is a 6-speed manual car. It's space gray metallic. It's all black leather, not two-tone, and it has the aluminum inlay. According to one of our sources, by the production numbers, JP, it winds up being like 1 of 9 in gray, manual, black, aluminum. It's super, super rare. They only made like 250 of the manual M4 coupes or MZM4 coupes, whatever this thing is called. This is number 234 produced. So, at the broadest, it's still a very rare car. But when you whittle it down to what it is, and then the car looks to be in very nice condition, these assets don't, I think, stand up to how rare and special the car is, and that kind of bums me out. But that is what we've sort of come to expect with Classic.com, with Cars and Bids. So, JP, I sent it over to you, a Z4M Coupe. What do you like about this car? And then we'll jump around.
Well, it's a lot like the GT2 in the sense that I think this is another car that's been criminally undervalued. Unlike the GT2, it hasn't been appreciated. People haven't realized that yet, and I think these are still a great value. I think they're one of the best looking sports cars of all time. There, I said it. I think it's certainly the best BMW of all time. There, I've said it from a looks point of view. That includes the old ones. And BMW just doesn't make anything good like this anymore. This is kind of like the end of the era for real, actual analog sports cars for BMW. It's funny because like 15 minutes before we started the show, I got a call. And I kid you not, I've been looking for one of these, and I found one. I think it was on Marketplace or something like that. And I've been trying to get a hold of the guy. The guy's just like not getting back to me. I found the same year, black on black with 30,000 miles, and the guy wants $30,000 for it. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm all over it. I'm like DMing and trying to get him to call me, and he happened to call me just before we go live, and I was so excited because I'm like, oh man, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm going to go get this Z4. I'm excited about this. And so I'm asking him, last question I get to before I'm like, okay, I'm buying an airplane ticket. I'm like, and like the car, clean Carfax, right? No accidents. You've had it for 12 years. It's all good. He's like, oh yeah, no, it hasn't had any accidents, but it does say flood damage on the title is print. I'm like, God damn it. Come on, man. So ticked off. So that ruined my Z4 dreams. Matthew, what do you think of Z4M?
I always like to say that the BMW I grew up loving died in 2013.
Yeah.
And this is like to me, this is the tail end of peak BMW.
Yeah.
I agree that Z4 M Coupe, great car, and often gets overshadowed by the an S54 Z3 M Coupe. Everyone gets super frothy and hot and bothered about those. But to your point, it's a great looking car, well built,
Way
really
better looking than the
balanced.
Z3. I just don't get that. Why do
Well,
people get
yeah.
so? The Z3M is just the dumbest looking, the horseshoe or clown shoe penis looking
shoe.
thing. This car is gorgeous. It's perfect. Sorry, I had to hop
Irony.
in there. You're right.
Irony.
Everyone mentions that. All right, Deeb, what's it going to bring? We got to move on.
All right, JP. Our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a Z4 M Coupe is a respectable $35,000. The rarity of this car by the numbers, the low odometer, and the overall very good condition would lead me to believe that this car should do really well. It's currently sitting at $31,069 on just 3 bids, JP, which doesn't make any sense to me. And it closes in one day, which basically in Cars and Bids, that's 2 days from now. So Friday, this car closes on Friday. JP, I got to temper my bid because of the platform. I hate saying that. I think this is a $40,000 plus car. I don't think it's going to get there on this platform. So my bid is going to be $38,004. There you go. I said it. I'm in. Where are you at, JP? You going to go over my bid?
If this were BAT, I would definitely be going over you. But because it's not, I don't even think it's going to break 35. So there it is, $35,008. Handing it off to Matthew.
Splitting 37.
37.
37.
Good bid.
All right.
Good
there
bid.
you go.
All right. The nerd herd some of the nerd herd thinks it's going to break 40. Rex is at 40.
The car is worth that.
Yeah,
the car
absolutely.
is worth that. That's a good bid. But the platform isn't helping them, and those assets aren't. And why does that car only have 3 bids? What did we miss? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. All right. Let us know what you guys think. Let's move on. What's the next car?
All right, JP, a car I don't understand why you selected is this 1985 Jeep Grand Wagoneer with a 5.3-liter Vortec motor. The car is showing 181,000 miles on the odometer, but its true mileage unknown. This rust bucket, because it's pretty corroded underneath, is showing is on Bring a Trailer out of Rensselaer, New York. So, JP, I'll let you take it away from here.
This is an engine swap. That is not the engine that came with these, and anyone who's ever driven one of these knows that they are plagued with just miles and miles and miles of smog equipment. This one had a real engine put in it, so it probably actually moves out of its way faster than the originals. I was going to come up with something, but look, I just love the way these look. I know they're not exciting. They're not a sports car. They're not a sports SUV. My partner has a beautiful family, and that's why I brought this car to the show tonight, because Deeb, I think you and Esther and the kid and the baby seat in the back, you guys would look so awesome cruising around San Francisco in this thing. And I think you'd actually like to drive. It probably actually drives nice for a change because of that Vortec engine swap. Look at that. It's a modern powertrain. Yeah. I'm all over it. I would love to drive this thing. I probably wouldn't actually bid on this myself unless I actually got a chance to drive it. If it drives as well as its potential, the underside doesn't look very bad. I mean, it's got, surface corrosion, but certainly a lot of the East Coast vehicles are just totally ruined. This one just looks like a used SUV underneath, but with that powertrain, I'm kind of excited about it. Matthew, what do you think?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge truck guy. I mean, a Grand Wagoneer, very cool, very Martha's Vineyard. Getting rid of the old AMC motor and dropping in a Vortec probably makes it, not. I was gonna say, like an old lady with a walker speed, probably a little better than that. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely for someone. It's a world that I know very, very little about. So I don't want to shove my foot further in my mouth. So I'll just hand it back to you guys.
All right,
here we go. All right, JP. Our car is currently sitting at $12,000, and it closes tomorrow. JP, that 12 grand comes by just 5 bids. It's not getting a ton of action. Here's interesting though. Do you realize that, like, so the 85 is basically one of the first years of the updated Grand Wagoneer, like the one we all know from the mid 70s to the mid 80s had died off. This update looks like the old one, but you know it's all more modern stuff. These cars bring $35,000 on average in the secondary market. I found that number to be astronomically high. JP, again, this car is sitting at 12. I don't think it's going very far. Despite having that cool motor, there's not a lot of bids on it, and that's an expensive car to truck out of the East, you know. So I don't know, JP. My bid is pretty tempered. I'm going to say just $18,000. Maybe it gets 50% more money, but I don't think this car is even going to break 20. And that's weird because an original one would bring 35 on average. I mean, that car looks like it's in better than average condition, but the tea leaves don't suggest it's going to get there, John. So I'm just reading the tea leaves. I don't know a lot about these. 18 to you, buddy.
I'm surprised they went with that Vortec engine. If you're going to go through the trouble of doing a swap, put an LS3 in the damn thing. It'll cost you a little bit more, but then you've got that cachet, and it'll really get out of its own way. You'll be able to just cruise through an army of those old ladies with their walkers. They'll just be like flying over the top of it like World War Z. Deeb, I think you should buy this thing for $19,000. I still think you guys would look awesome. Look, some refurbished ones, like, you know, there are a lot of companies that go through and really do these right. They're going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, not 100,000, but hundreds when people get into these. The companies like Icon and stuff like that get into them and make them look, you know, complete resto mods. So getting this one under 20, I think this is a bargain. Matthew, I know it's not your jam, but what do you think?
I just knowing what it costs to engine swap, even with being a Vortec and not being an LS, just knowing what it probably costs to engine swap the thing. I don't know. I'll just throw 20 grand at it. Why not?
That's a good
all right.
Number.
Going high bid. High bid. That's not bad. All right. The real bidders might be waiting, or they might be watching Bid Nerds. So
if this thing breaks 30, I would not be surprised. I just would not be surprised that I've got it wrong. All right, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let's rip through this last car. We just have a couple of minutes, really fast.
All right, Matthew, have you ever driven a Panoz Esperante? Our car is a 2000. Our car is a 2002 with just 17,000 on the odometer. This is the nicest Mustang I've ever seen. Listed out of Manhattan Beach, California. Did you know they only made like 235 of these cars? I think it's like 231 or 234. I knew they were rare, but I didn't know that this car was that rare. By that rationale, and given his racing success, you know, out of America, I'm surprised that these cars, which I know are more window dressing than actual bark or actual bite, I'm surprised they don't bring a little more money. So, JP, any love for the Panoz Esperante?
I just want to say, F this seller, man. F this guy. If you're watching, F you. What the fuck, dude? Get out of your own way and hire a goddamn photographer. This guy, anytime you see a dumpster in the background of photos for your car, that's what your car is worth, okay? Roll your fucking windows down if you've got a convertible and you're taking shots of it. This is just, you're phoning it in, you're wasting our time. F you. Matthew, what do you think?
Well, I agree. I totally agree with that hot take on the photography. Esperante, a really neat car. I'm a bit of a closeted Panoz AIV enthusiast. So,
is that how you actually pronounce it? Panoz A? Is that the actual pronunciation?
No, I said no. I was saying Panoz AIV. The like the sort of hot rod looking thing. No, it's I always thought it was Panoz. So I'm not refined enough to know either way.
Lucas corrected me and told me. Go ahead, Matthew. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was saying it's a cool thing, and I remember they had like issues getting the Ford Cobra motors because they were like there was the era when they advertised that the cars made more power than they did, and they recalled and held back, and I think I remember something about that. But either way, cool thing, not the nicest interior, fun to drive, and they don't seem to get a ton of love, but whatever. If you don't want to see yourself going the other way in traffic, it's a great option.
All right, what's it going to bring?
JP, believe it or not, this car cost $93,146 when it was brand new back in 2002. That might have something to do with the fact that they only sold 231 of these things. Lucas, the bid turn, in my notes, phonetically wrote it out that it's Panoz, and that was allegedly the correct way to enunciate or pronounce the name of the car. I always called it Panoz, but thank you, Lucas, for correcting me. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that these are apparently worth $52,000 in the secondary market. This one here looks to be really nice, but JP, you talk about phoning it in. These are literally cell phone photos, and they're very, very badly done, and that is going to hold this one way back. John, our car closes tomorrow, and it's currently sitting at just $17,000. There's no way this one's going to triple in the last day. So with that in mind, my bid is $40,000 even on the Panoz. Where are you at on this car? It's not getting to 52. There's no way.
30,000 fails to sell on this dumpster fire of a listing. Matthew, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with that. I'll stick it right. I'll be right up the middle, but either way, it's going to be immaterial because it's not selling. So I'll go right up the middle. I'll call it $35,000, but there's no way it sells.
Yeah. This guy's got a firm grip on it.
Yep. All right, guys, that is a show. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us on your Wednesday night. We will be back Sunday at a regular time. This is Bid Nerds. Matthew, before we go, where do we find you?
TheCultivatedCollector.com or The Cultivated Collector on Instagram.
Yeah, great stuff. It's a great follow on Instagram. There are some breathtaking photos of some breathtaking cars. Matthew, thank you for being part of the show tonight.
Matthew, we're sending you a case of Hippie Sips.